All right. Well, football is kind of funny how football's fallen on the back burner, so to speak. It's kind of been put on the warmer for the time being with both basketball teams not only ranked, but now within top 4 seeds. And baseball's number 1 in the country. Softball hasn't lost in like 3 weeks. And spring practice has started. But this is sort of just like in the back of everybody's mind. Although it's got to be at the front of Nikki Chavanelle's mind because she's always thinking football. Managing editor of HawgBeat.com, joins us every Tuesday. She covers everything Arkansas athletics. Nikki, is football still at the front of your mind, even though for the rest of us it's sort of right now just like, it's happening, it's exciting, but there are other things more exciting right now?
Yeah, well, I got to pay attention. That's the job, but it is obviously really tough right now. Not used to having so much activity all at once, but we're doing our best trying to cover all 3 things going on right now. But we got practice today and Thursday, and then scrimmage on Saturday that they open to the public. So a lot more opportunities to see these guys. It's been tough so far with limited access. But we have, a better idea of where they're trying out some guys and whatnot.
So, and you were at last week Tuesday. You got plans to go to a couple this week. What are the things that you're focusing on watching when you're there? And I know that you don't want to give the details of what's happening at practice. That's not what I'm asking. But the things that you are looking for specifically while you're standing there.
Yeah, well, the way they have us situated at practice is, we get a specific spot on the field. So I try to focus on the group nearest me because I don't want to, look over at the wide receivers and see like one bad catch and then make an assumption based off of that if I'm not, really focusing on them. So last week I was looking at the offensive line. I wanted to see the guys that would technically be redshirt freshmen but are still, I guess, true freshmen now, Ray Curry, Jalen St. John, Marcus Henderson, all those guys look like they progressed, physically and developmentally. And then I was also, checking out what Sam Pittman is doing on the field. And then I want to see the timing with the quarterbacks and how much of a cohesive timing they have with these new wide receivers.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think, we know that KJ's got the arm strength. We know he's had issues with accuracy here and there, but the arm strength's there. He can make all the throws. I guess it's really a matter of being able to develop that chemistry with your wide receivers because that still is your strongest position of any of the position groups is wide receiver. And so, not having spring practice last year certainly has to do a lot with the ability to work that chemistry through. That's just so huge for these guys right now.
Yeah, I think one of KJ's biggest thing is like the touch that he puts on the ball, like what speed he's throwing it at for whatever necessary pass that it is. And I've seen him grow a lot in that, and his accuracy is coming along more as well. Hutch was watching him on some downfield passes, and he was a little off on Thursday, but then he hit Treylon Burks for a deep ball, and it was a really nice ball. So just, I guess, establishing more consistency.
Nikki Chavanelle joining us here on Halftime. Nikki, real quick, a couple more football tidbits here, and then want to move over to the basketball court just for a moment. But the Razorbacks picked up a big transfer this past Saturday. Former Rivals 100 wide receiver Warren Thompson transferring from Florida State to the Razorbacks. Tell us a little bit about Warren Thompson, what he brings to the program.
Yeah, he was a former Rivals 100 wide receiver out of Florida, so really highly regarded, had a bunch of offers. Picked Florida State and went to play for Willie Taggart. I guess things weren't going that well. He redshirted, and then he had like 5 catches the next year and then 6 catches. He had some, I guess, like an incident with Mike Norvell's staff as well. Like during the COVID stuff, he was tweeting stuff that the school, wasn't cool with him tweeting, and they had some issues, but they, put it under the bridge and moved on. And I think that he's just looking for a fresh opportunity, and especially since he's walking on, there's really no risk for the Razorbacks here.
Right. It's gonna be interesting to see kind of how he transitions into the fold with this Razorback team. And then you were talking about the scrimmage earlier, so we talked about it from the recruiting standpoint. What about from the fan standpoint? For those that are going to be making it up to the scrimmage this Saturday, what can fans, what can media, what do you look to take from this open scrimmage, the first of probably many open scrimmages leading up to the spring game?
Yeah, well, right out the gate, I want to see just how sharp the offense is looking when it comes to, running the play that's called and executing. Just want to see how the defense is aligning. They're doing some, adjustments, trying to follow more of what Jermaine Ashley was doing at Tulsa. We're still, 3 down linemen most of the time, but rushing more and bringing up the linebackers more. So I would pay attention to that, and I'm sure everyone's going to be watching the quarterback battle. KJ's, the starter, but there's definitely still a lot of competition happening.
And transitioning over to the basketball floor, obviously we've talked a lot already about the Razorbacks being a 3 seed, the women's team being a 4 seed. Point blank, and I'll just ask you, which team do you feel more confident in making it to the Sweet 16, the men or the women?
Well, the Razorbacks have the men have a pretty decent path. They don't have to face a team seated higher than them, until that Sweet 16 level. So I think with Jalen Williams back, they have a pretty good shot. But that women's team, I mean, the way that they play and score at a high level, is they can beat anybody. So it's really a toss-up, in my opinion. I'm not sure down the line after Wright State who the women have in their bracket, so I can't say for sure.
I love that Hutch did the deep dive into Colgate, and it's like this team is almost impossible to scout because you can't trust. I get the stats mean something, even though they only played 5 teams. But for me, playing 5 teams that's nowhere near the athleticism that Arkansas has, or like nowhere near the athleticism of like 85% of the teams that Arkansas has played against this year. There's something about this matchup, Nikki, that I'm almost like already looking past into the second round. I know I shouldn't, but I'm not as afraid of a Patriot League champion this year as maybe I would be in a normal year.
Yeah, I think, even though they did only play 5 teams, and that's what, they had to work with to scout, I think Musselman, he's the perfect guy to have as the coach for this game. Colgate is a really analytical team, so Musselman has a very like mind in that sense. So I think he'll know what works to stop them. And then having Jalen Williams back, you have a little bit more athleticism inside than you do with, Connor Vanover, although we don't know if Muss is going to continue to start him or not. He kind of left it up in the air. But, yeah, I don't necessarily think this is that much of a trap game, but the people who I guess have watched Colgate more this season still think, any team that can shoot the 3 that well, they have to have a pretty good shot, especially with the amount of possessions each team's going to have.
And there's also something about Muss, and I see the same thing from Mike Neighbors too. And maybe I'm overlooking the fact that there are other coaches that also are just really good at scouting, and Mike's got Todd Schaefer helping him out with all of that stuff as well as far as defense goes. I really think like the 2 head coaches of these teams are sort of like built for tournaments. And Muss took Nevada to the Sweet 16. I sort of give Arkansas an edge a little bit on the coaching aspect of this. And maybe I've bought too much into the whole Muss bus, but I do think he's a tremendous basketball coach. I think he's kind of made for March.
Yeah, his obsession is kind of what you need to have to be successful, I think. And especially you have to have a strong staff who is going to put in the work and is like used to putting in that work. And we've seen not literally, but we know what Musselman's team scouting reports look like, and they sound pretty ridiculous. Like, it sounds like you have everything you could possibly need to know about how to dismantle a team, what every single player's little, tells are, like stuff like that. So, yeah, I agree.
All right, last thing, and this would be the really important thing. We didn't even have a chance really to get into it yet, but it is National Artichoke Day. I had posed a question before we went into our first break, if you eat artichokes, and SmackDown went, yeah, and then admitted during the commercial break that he'd never even tried one before.
Now, hang on.
So this is someone who's obviously afraid of certain vegetables. Are you afraid of artichokes, Nikki? Because to be honest, like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Have you eaten these? Do you like them?
Yeah, I do love artichokes. You steam them or whatever, or boil them, and then you peel off the leaves and dip them in butter. That's the best thing. Although last time I tried to make them, I didn't do it long enough, and they were super hard, and I quit.
In my defense, when you said that, my mind immediately went to anchovy. So that was what the image I had in my mind. So I Googled a picture of artichokes. I would give it a try. I thought that's how stupid I can be sometimes.
It
The
is
vegetable
really
was a
weird.
fish.
There's no vegetable I can think of that is quite like it. So
It's like the bloomin' onion of vegetables.
Right.
Ooh.
And when you get deep into it, it's sort of like the porcupine of vegetables, too.
I'm intrigued. You put it like that with the bloomin' onion.
You'd love them.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, he's just picturing something fried with all sorts of spices on it, I'm sure. Nikki, always appreciate you. Have a great week. Enjoy the scrimmage on Saturday. I know that you got to be looking forward to that, and looking forward to talking about it on Tuesday next week.
thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You got it. It's Nikki Chavanelle joining us every Tuesday. And SmackDown, did you really think a vegetable was a fish?
I went just when you said it, my mind immediately went to anchovies. So forgive me, please.
He thought an apple was sardines one time.
Like, anchovies and artichokes could work together under certain circumstances. And then if you wanted to say, at that point, I would give it to you. You're hilarious. The kid who wouldn't eat something just because his mother asked him to, I'm sure.
No, Mama SmackDown asked me to eat artichoke. You daggum right. If Lady SmackDown did, absolutely. There's another quarter.
Mom would just demand. Oh yeah, we've got a little fine jar going. Yeah,
We each got a fine jar that we got to figure out a fine for Maddie. No, it was every time he made us blush. That's right.
877-377-6963. Halftime back after this quick commercial break.